Have you ever played a game so good that your life feels empty after completing it? On an overcast August morning, a boredom took over me as my Steam library lay depleted. At this poignant moment, my husband suggested I try Baldur's Gate 3. Now, since the sport incident where deceit tarnished my gaming expectations, I've been hesitant to buy games full price in case I'm burned again. However, despite my doubts, I felt a rebellious spark, downloaded it, and embarked on an epic journey. After immersing myself in 200 hours of gameplay, I think I'm now ready to share my thoughts and experience on how Baldur's Gate 3 not only captured my soul, but has left an indelible mark on my life in the most extraordinary way possible. Given the sheer size of this game, I've decided to dissect my journey into sections, so you can choose to buckle up for the whole ride or navigate to the parts that interest you the most. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but I'd really appreciate you sticking around and giving a like or comment for support. You start the adventure by waking on board an Illithid mind flayer ship, where you're implanted with a tadpole, a parasite set to transform you into a big tentacle boy. But just after you've been infected, the ship is attacked by Githyanki warriors. The battle leads to the ship crashing, where the united kidnapped survivors become BFFs and set off together to remove the dreaded tadpoles in their heads. Or at least that's the quick version. There is of course a whole tapestry of intrigue to discover along the way, such as a psychotic cult, questionable romances, and a harmless old lady living in the woods alone with no malicious intent whatsoever. The story is told across 3 acts, with each one feeling unique from the last, and this is where I think Larian Studios absolutely knocked it out the park. From the moment you crash land in Act 1, you're instantly submerged into a meticulously crafted world. Each area you visit is a visual masterpiece with careful attention to detail, offering a diverse range of environments. During your quest, you'll travel through mountainous wilderness, underground fungal kingdoms, bustling cities, and cursed landscapes. With such an expansive world, you're actively encouraged to explore every nook and cranny, and during both playthroughs, I never got bored once. In fact, there were even entire areas and quests I missed completely, so it was great to experience them armed with a better understanding and appreciation for the game second time round. On the subject of detail, let's delve into the vibrant cast of NPCs and random characters that populate Baldur's Gate 3. Game-setting sprawling cities often fall victim to the issues of reskinned character models, who mindlessly echo the same lines on a loop during conversation. This is where Baldur's Gate 3 stands out by placing remarkable emphasis on individuality, right down to the seemingly random peasant on the bustling street. I was very rarely given the same line of dialogue twice by 2 different characters, which meant the city and surroundings felt like a real, living, breathing world. Despite the multitude of characters, I also find it challenging to pinpoint the same voice actor doubling up in different roles, which is normally a standard practice for games of this size. This meticulous attention to detail not only kept my experience fresh and fully immersed, but it also prevents the monotony of repetitive dialogue and showcasing Larian's masterful touch in creating a dynamic and immersive world.
Stop licking the damn thing!
In the game, you're introduced to a diverse array of different origin characters, individuals you can choose to travel with and who will act as your nearest and dearest companions. You have a Githyanki fighter, Lae'zel, a fierce warrior who throughout the game starts to question her faith, Gale, a human wizard, a powerful mage who has serious issues with his ex-girlfriend Mystra, Shadowheart, a half-elf cleric who worships Lady Shar and is a massive racist, Astarion, the elf rogue vampire spawn, who, now free from his abusive master, seeks revenge at any cost and is a complete harlot. Will, the human warlock, the man with a heart of gold and always looking to do the right thing for the people around him, even to the detriment of his own mortal soul. And of course Karlach, the barbarian tiefling, a big mama bear who has escaped from hell and now is on the run from the archdevil Zariel. So now we have that out of the way, let's look at the companions in a bit more detail and discover why the writers are pure geniuses. The first is a focus on personality. D&D is all about unique character creation, and staying true to this focus, each companion has their own rich past as well as motivations and distinct likes and dislikes, making each one truly unique. In fact, the writers have so expertly crafted these core characters that every player has an individual or a group that they naturally gravitate towards, creating a deep connection. But it's important to remember that it's just a game and there's no real emotional attachment. Of course, it's not all about the origin companions, because every single person or creature that you interact with is seamlessly woven into the main plot with their own story to discover. This detail makes everything feel like it has its perfect place in the world, which, despite not being a main character, you can still forge connections with them, whether that's love, hate, or a weird confusion of the both. Obviously, with a game this size, the depth of the characters demands voice actors who can equally match their energy. I think the casting directors did an absolutely excellent job with this, bringing in experienced talents like Neil Newbon, Maggie Robertson, Andrew Wincott, Devora Wild, and they even managed to secure J.K. Simmons and Jason Isaacs, absolute veterans in their industry. The ensemble of different voices breathes life into the characters, creating a perfect match between voice and personality. It's a testament to the passion of everyone involved, making Baldur's Gate 3 an unforgettable experience with characters that almost seem real.
Ornaments, utensils, and ducks. I like ducks.
I should start this by confessing that I'm not the biggest D&D enthusiast. I gave it a good shot, but it just didn't click for me. So when I approached Baldur's Gate 3, I was fairly skeptical. So after taking an ungodly amount of time to make my character, I finally dove in, and I had no idea what was going on, but luckily after 20 minutes in, I found I didn't need to. For me, the game struck a perfect balance for both die-hard D&D fans and those like me who are relatively unfamiliar with the universe. The way they drip-feed you the developed lore allowed me to learn as I went and navigate the game fairly easily. The integration of dice and turn-based gameplay also added a layer of enjoyment, infusing a sense of risk in each action you took, leaving you wondering if your choices would pay off. While the initial combat posed a big challenge at first, it quickly transformed into a platform which made me develop a strategic mindset. So here's where I ran into another problem. Here's the thing with addictive storylines and gameplay. It follows you into the ordinary real world. Every time I was away, I caught myself yearning to dive back into the game, even in the midst of mundane tasks such as the weekly grocery shop. Sure, stocking up on beans is fine, but it really pales in comparison to saving a horde of refugees, or traversing a cursed castle, or sleeping with a bear. What sets Baldur's Gate 3 apart is its commitment to the core message of D&D, empowering players to make the decisions they want without constraints. You want to side with the bad guys, doing an entire camp of refugees? Cool. You want to find out what's hidden behind a cliff? Great. You want to transform an enemy into a sheep and shove them off a ledge to avoid a long and quite frankly irritating battle, which is just so frustrating. I mean, why would... Every choice resonates, impacting yourself and the characters around you. It's a refreshing departure from games with linear stories where your choices often feel insignificant. For instance, let's look at the choice you're presented with when you have the option to spare some goblins and let them go, or eliminate them. What you don't know first time round is that after you've made the decision, you'll then have your mind probed, putting you in a precarious situation, especially if you chose mercy. And it's situations like this where consideration before action becomes absolutely crucial. Building on this, Act 3 presents instances where earlier choices manifest, creating a dynamic narrative. Character and situations resurface, evolving based around your actions from Act 1 or 2. And it's a really nice touch which adds depth and makes the story feel complete. You're never left wondering as the game evolves around you.
No.
Borislav Slavov is the composer and music director for Baldur's Gate 3, who's also left his mark on other iconic scores, such as Divinity Original Sin 2, Two Worlds, and the Crisis series. Music in video games often flies underneath the radar, yet it's the element that really lingers, etching itself into your memories. Under Slavov's direction, every score and soundtrack mirrors the uniqueness of the game itself, tailored to fit the nuances of every moment and encounter, and has the power to invoke such emotion from the first 5 seconds alone that it just fits perfectly. Unlike most other people, it's so good that I was just listening to it away from the game as well. So let's talk about favourites. There's The Power, a velvety melodic tune that I shamelessly coerced my companions into playing repeatedly in the town square. I Want to Live, which offers a softer, soulful resonance, and Raphael's final act, which stands as a true magnum opus, where Andrew Wincott takes on the role of the singer during his own climactic boss fight. It's a stroke of genius, encapsulating the narcissistic character we've grown to expect and love. The music in the game really elevates it, from just a soundtrack to a symphony of emotions that stays with you long after the gameplay concludes. So to put it simply, Baldur's Gate 3 has completely ruined my life, and I'm loving every minute of it. Why? Well, because this game is a once-in-a-decade gem that delivered the same level of excitement and immersion that left me bewildered with what else to do with my life when I finished it for the first time. Few games have managed to evoke such feelings in me, with The Witcher 3 and Skyrim being some of the only other worthy contenders. The sheer dedication, time and attention to detail poured into the creation of Baldur's Gate 3 elevate it from being just a mere game to an immersive world where every moment feels like an adventure. After about 200 hours invested, I'm still discovering new facets, which is a real testament to its depth and the vastness of its offerings. It's an experience that caters to everyone, whether you're a hardcore Dungeons & Dragons fan or a newcomer to the genre. I won't explicitly tell you to go check it out because, let's face it, most of you probably already have it, and are likely scheming your next playthrough. Baldur's Gate 3 isn't just a game, it's an experience, and once you step into this enchanting world, there's no turning back. Thanks for staying all the way to the end. What kind of playthrough did you decide to do for Baldur's Gate 3? Did you miss anything like I did? And what was your favourite part? Comment below and give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.